So hello and welcome back to TNTV, and you're here as always with the incredible and beautiful looking today, isn't she? Lovely.
It's very hot.
She was worried about being shiny, so I'm going, look, you're not shiny. I love you actually.
I've got a lot of lights on me.
Anyway, look, yes, the amazing and beautiful Nicki V, and of course myself, Tony V, where this week we have something that probably causes. Last week I think we did car rows, which we know that's what we call a hotspot. But, there's another hotspot which is, not sort of specific in terms of the environment, but happening potentially all of the time that you might not know about, that is putting you in some sort of disconnection. And that is who out of you as a couple is really acting as the leader. Or it's in some ways we often say who's the one making the most of the decisions. So That's our subject today. And believe me, this is a thing that definitely disconnects people, and we use that sort of moves them away from each other if you're indeed getting this wrong.
Yes, and this video is specifically for you, and I know I say that every week, but I was just thinking as Tony was talking then, who is this for most specifically? Well, actually, we have letters, and we don't have letters anymore, emails, and lots of communications each week, and they're so often from couples who have kind of got the first part of our teaching, which is look, you have to look at yourself, you can't do the blaming, maybe they're not arguing so much anymore, but they're still finding that the connection between them is just not how they want it to be, how it was at the beginning. There's no connection. And that's because this whole subject, as Tony said, is all about who's going to be the man in the relationship and who's going to be the woman in the relationship. And of course, though, that's why, specifically for you, if you're like, you've kind of looked at your relationship and maybe you watched a few of our videos, and if this is the first one, there's loads and loads you can go to if you want to have more information. Is that what happens with the kind of big decisions or even the little tiny decisions, and who really takes the lead and why does that work so much to bring that connection back? So that's what we want to
so really if you had one word to describe this leadership issue in a relationship, the word's a bit of an odd word really, but the word would be the word polarity.
Yes.
So for you to be magnetically connected and tightly connected to each other 24/7, I know we sleep for 8 hours, but look, even when you're asleep, are you sleeping one side of the bed facing that way and the other person's way, and there's a 3-foot gap in the middle of a 4'6" bed, then, even unconsciously when you're asleep, this could be a problem. So
it's a bit like the bed. I've talked about the bed a lot this week on videos. We have a bed. It's a lovely, lovely bed. It looks great, but it keeps kind of collapsing. Right? So in the middle of the night, I turn over and the bed goes boom, like that. The little slats, they just go boom. So it's great because all I do is I just say, Tone.
My slats are gone.
That sounds awful. The bed, my bed's, my side of the bed's gone down. And he is amazing. He goes, because of course, it would be so easy for me to go, well, I won't wake him up and I'll see if I can fix it myself sort of thing. But he goes, okay, you pop in the bathroom for a minute and I'll get it all fixed and I'll give you a shout when you come back. So people
are probably going, why have they got a broken bed?
We keep needing to get a new one.
It's because we keep moving. And, I don't want to discredit anyone, but look, IKEA beds, they don't come to bits very well and go back together.
I'm sorry, anyway, I got him started
we move a lot. We love variety, and so we do need a better transportable bed.
But it's a good little example because it would be so easy for me either to go, okay, I won't disturb him, which would be actually a nice thing, or I could be going, I better to do it myself. Yeah, there's the scary thing that us girls do. Look, put your hand up, please, because I know that I do it sometimes. I go, he might not do it properly, so I'll do it myself. And, I think we just have to be really honest as girls. And, of course, Tony's going to tell you guys what has to happen in your camp so that actually that polarity really happens.
Yeah, so remember what polarity means. It means that, your energies, your opposite energies, remember that like energy attracts like energy is a good saying. So that's why two people have got similarity or energetically similar energy are sometimes drawn together. And that was certainly the case for us.
Yes.
But the thing that keeps the the magic connection, the intimacy going, is your polarity needs to be opposite. So as Nicki says, look, the guy needs to be a guy and the girl needs to be a girl, because otherwise what happens is that this gap grows between you that is really, really, really tough to regain the closeness, the spark as we often call it. And, you know, the first thing that always goes is intimacy, talking about beds. Intimacy, if intimacy's gone in your relationship, then listen with big, big, big ears to this, because it's normally the reason that what's happening is that your woman has become more the leader in the relationship. Now, that can be more masculine, and if it is, it's quite overt. You'll find her being challenging to you, testing you, jumping in there, trying to make the decisions before you've had a chance, or she'll be it's sort of like an overtly in charge. And, you know, trust me, if that is describing your relationship, you know, you are not alone. You know, I don't know if we've ever said before, we people watch all the time. You know, we love people watching because, yeah, it's part of what we do, really. But one day we went to the cinema. I like to sit in the back row. It's something that goes back to my childhood, I think, you know, or my early teens, you know. But remember that when the people, if you haven't heard us say this before, when the people, we were first in, because I like to get there early, you know, and we're the only people in the cinema, and literally about 100 people streamed into the cinema, and as they come around the door, next time you go, just watch, I promise you, just watch, yeah, and just watch, if couples come in, who walks in first, and who decides where they're going to sit. Who decides? You can do it in a restaurant as well. Who goes up to the person, you know, where many restaurants go, middle of the range restaurants this is, go, you know, wait here to be seated. You know, and across comes the person, get a couple of menus, says hello. Well, you just notice who talks to that person. Yeah. Because whoever talks to that person is completely, possibly unconsciously, and you may be unaware of this in your relationship, is the leader in your relationship. They will be most likely the decision maker. Now, if that is your woman, trust me, there will be a gap here. There will be a gap. Yes. Because your polarity's out of connection. So in other words, she's acting more like the man, and you're allowing her, which is, you know, because this is not about blaming the women for taking the lead. Let me say, this is very much about men. We need to step up and give certainty and take the lead. That's how you get and keep polarity.
That is absolutely it. Because I was just going in myself, because I know in myself, there's so many girls out there going, yeah, I really recognise, oh my God, Tony and Nicki, I do that. Now, before you switch off going, oh, this is a woman bashing session of women doing wrong. What Tony's going to tell you right now, and this is where the guys need to listen really hard, and the girls need to listen, because we need to realise that we're not doing it consciously, we're doing it unconsciously, because there is this great gap. And who is going to lead? And you can't walk in like this, shuffling together. And if you do, that's not going to work either. So actually, the problem with the reason why so many women, I'd put it in 90-odd%, are doing the leading, when we've been to the cinema or the restaurants and everything, we see about 90% of the time the woman goes up to the person, or the woman decides which table, or the woman decides even pays. I mean,
I tell you, I mean, the paying thing.
We say it's not a disease, it's an
epidemic. It's an epidemic.
And so, look, before you switch off, girls, this reason is because men are doing, tell them about what men are doing, that's actually stopping, that's creating this gap, which us women, we have to be honest, we're jumping into. So, like, we need to know.
Well, I think that what Nicki's referring to is that we are literally, you know, in much more in our feminine, and we are allowing, as I said, we are allowing our woman to be the leader in our relationship. Yes. In fact, one word you could use for it is downright being lazy. Yeah. And what this does is it puts your woman into massive uncertainty that you are going to actually do anything. You cannot believe how many. We went to a show recently where we had a stand, and it was probably 80% women at the show. It was a bit of a crystal type festival, so, you know, more women go to that than men. But anyway, look, they were coming round to my stand, and I'm asking them, you know, a great question, because we love asking questions, yeah. And I can't tell you how many people said, oh, it's my marriage, it's my man, you know. And I go, okay, what's the problem? Oh, well, he's hopeless. Yes. He is hopeless is the word that they use. And so what's happening there is the man has become lazy, and the woman has become what we call the leader or decision maker. Now, if you want to get your polarity back, In other words, what I was saying to those women is that, of course, notice our number one video is called The Blame Game. So notice how what they did is they straight away went to, it's his fault, he's hopeless.
Yes.
So, but look.
But the men are doing the same, because the men are going, well, she just does it.
Yes.
And that's like Tone saying about, he's going, well, like, you men are allowing us to do it. So actually something has to happen. And that's why this whole video is about what actually has to happen so that it really, really works. And that is that rather than allow a woman to do it, the man has to, we've got this great phrasing, the man needs to go there first. Now, what does that mean? So he needs to stop moaning and saying, oh, well, she keeps taking charge. He needs to stop moaning and going, oh, well, I'm getting lazy and it's easier. He needs to actually take the lead. And one of the things that Tony is absolutely brilliant at, because a lot of people ask us this question, don't they? And they go, yeah, but what are you talking about in every situation? And we're going, well, yes. Actually, what works for polarity and what works for us girls so much is when the guy absolutely has got in his bucket, as we call it, the decision of where we go and what we do. Now, again, the women are going, well, say he doesn't do something I want to do. That's where the men, again, need to understand the woman.
Now, you could be coming from a long way back here. In other words, you're going, oh my God, we do all of that. And trust me, we've helped many, many couples. We do weekends, what we call emergency weekends, where people are so disconnected that they've gone, please, can you come and stay with us and help us, And we've got that button up the top if you're interested in that.
We will literally watch them out of polarity.
I can't tell you.
The whole time, from the second, not just from the second they open the front door, but from the second that we get on the phone.
Absolutely. It's in the emails. You see, the thing is that we've used the example like the cinema, we've used the example like the restaurant. But you see, if you're doing it in those places and you're unaware that you do, in other words, your relationship's just drifted into this situation, then what's going to be happening is that's going to be happening in every intricate detail of your relationship, where actually you're out of kilter, so out of polarity, so disconnected, so intimacy has drifted. All of those things are the result of men not stepping up and being the man and being the natural leader. Look, it's natural for men to lead, and if you want a reason why that's sort of not anybody's fault, because obviously one of the challenges is we don't want anything to be our fault. So guys are going,
and I don't want to be told I'm being feminine.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. But I sat with a guy the other week. We were doing a talk, and I had this sort of conversation with him, and he's gone, oh my God, okay, everything you're saying. Yeah. I'm just beginning to realise that I'm running a feminine pattern, a feminine energy, and he was single actually, and he's going, that's why I can't get in a relationship, because it's not attractive to women. And of course, if it's not attractive to women, he's never going to get into a long-term loving relationship. And it was almost in every word he said, everything he described he did when he got into a relationship, going, okay, he's not taking the lead. He's asking them. This is one of the things that you can check in. He's asking the women what they would like to do. What would you like to do for the weekend? That is one of the worst questions.
Or what do you want me to do? At the exact same place, we had a couple that we knew her quite well, but we didn't know him. And literally, she just walked over. She knew exactly what they were going to do for that day. He kind of, he kind of moseyed over. She tried to kind of drag him into the conversation. She tried to get Tony to kind of tell him how to be with her. It was scary. And then when I kind of went off and talked with her, Tony was saying, like, he was asking her, what role do you play like here, today? And he went, yeah, I just wait for her to tell me what to do. And we're going,
he said, and actually, I'd really rather be playing golf, because I don't want to be doing any of this. Wow, you've got one very, very unhappy man who's staying in a relationship. He's probably inside resentful. He's definitely fed up. He's definitely not going to be making love to this woman. I promise you.
And also, and she's unhappy too, because she's saying that thing about him being hopeless. So, what's so cool, what's so fantastic about Tony is that actually he does it in a loving way. He doesn't kind of like push me out the way and go like, I'm in charge. He just goes, so we'll just give you a quick example. We're here in our studio, as you know, and we've come along, we've got ready this morning, and we're actually going away for the weekend, so I've got packed, and Tony's doing what he's doing. And then we get into the studio, and Tony said, okay, so what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about who leads, And so I kind of went, oh, right. So, you know, what shall I say? What are you going to say? What are they? And he just went, it's okay. You know, it's like, it's okay. It'll be fine. And so what has to happen is that the man has to go like, okay, I need to take charge here just so that she feels safe. And the woman needs to go, okay, I am safe. I trust, I absolutely feel that this is right for me. And that I actually feel that I want to be taken care of. Absolutely.
There you go. So look, if you've heard all of that with big ears and you're ready to take some action, maybe guys, you could take some action today. What thing could you do that where you could like lead and go, right, let me take care of my woman today, that would like give you the first insight, maybe a reference that actually that's what she really, really wants. So I suggest, guys, that you try it on tonight, because when we get asked, well, who goes first here? Well, men, it's always you. So men, give that woman a big surprise. Make sure that you're leading all the way along the line and see what happens, and write in and let us know how it all works
Yes,
out.
and for you girls, we call it leave the gap. And if you're finding that tough, because trust me, when I first started to do this, instead of kind of coming back to Tony going, no, but I need to know what's going to happen, I just go, okay, let me just breathe. Let me just let me let go and just trust and know that my man knows what to do. What do they call it? The man is like the emergency. He is the solution vehicle. He's the solution machine. And we have to like let him, we have to leave that gap so that he does that.
Fantastic. So there you go. All about leading. Trust you got something great from it, and we'll see you next week on TNTV.
Yeah,
Bye for now.
bye-bye.